coming from the Supreme Court. The 5-judge bench of the Supreme Court today declared Aadhaar constitutionally valid. It was a 4-1 split verdict, with Justice D.Y. Chandrachud being the lone dissenting voice. The court, however, has also put in some checks, which means there will be parts of your life that will no longer be touched by Aadhaar. Take a look at our top story tonight.
The Supreme Court has finally put to rest concerns about Aadhaar. Months after the Supreme Court ruled that privacy is a fundamental right, it has now upheld the constitutional validity of Centre's flagship scheme Aadhaar, but with minor conditions. It was a split verdict with 4 judges, CJI Deepak Mishra, Justice A.M. Khanwilkar, Justice A.K. Sikri and Justice Ashok Bhushan deciding in favour, and 1 judge, Justice D.Y. Chandrachud, dissenting. Justice Sikri wrote the majority verdict for himself, the CJI and Justice Khanwilkar. They held the Aadhaar Act constitutionally valid and overruled the argument that Aadhaar can't be passed as a money bill. The judges said that Aadhaar is safe and enrollments are foolproof. They added that the Aadhaar scheme empowers the poor by giving them identity. Justice Ashok Bhushan backed the majority on validity, but had some minor concerns. While Justice Chandrachud gave a dissenting verdict, calling Aadhaar unconstitutional and a scheme which violates privacy, he said the passage of Aadhaar Act by bypassing the Rajya Sabha amounted to subterfuge.
Law which has been tested on the anvil of the Constitution and found to be a good law. Now the law is good. Now its applicability is where the Supreme Court may have given some findings and decisions and has said that certain places it can be applicable and certain it's not required.
So what does this mean for the Aam Aadmi? Aadhaar will not be mandatory for mobile connections, school admissions. Bank accounts and private companies can't seek Aadhaar data. Students will also not be required to furnish their Aadhaar cards for CBSE, UGC and NEET examinations. But Aadhaar will still be required for filing of income tax returns, applying for the permanent account number or PAN card and availing any government scheme.
कोर्ट ने अपहोल्ड करते हुए फैसले को बैलेंस किया है कि आधार में जो डिटेल्स हैं उसमें प्राइवेसी का भी मुद्दा है, इसलिए वो थर्ड पार्टीज को, टेलीफोन कंपनीज को, उनको ना दिया जाए.
The main thrust of the case brought by petitioners against Aadhaar was that it encroached on the privacy of citizens because it entailed collection of fingerprints, iris scans and other details of citizens. While the verdict bars private companies from getting access to citizens' Aadhaar, there is no clarity on information that has already been shared with corporates. Bureau Report, India Today.
So let's raise all the big questions tonight. Is Aadhaar a victory or defeat for citizens' rights? How does the Aadhaar verdict affect the larger right to privacy? Has the Supreme Court put in enough checks and balances to ensure that my data is protected? Is it now mandatory for every citizen to get an Aadhaar card? Will those who don't have Aadhaar be denied government benefits? What happens to Aadhaar data already shared with private firms? And on this big day in the Supreme Court, joining us now, 2 Supreme Court lawyers, also politicians and party spokespersons, Abhishek Manu Singhvi, senior counsel and spokesperson and MP of the Congress, and Nalin Kohli of the Bharatiya Janata Party, advocate at the Supreme Court. Appreciate both of you joining us. Dr. Singhvi, let me come to you first, because what's interesting in the context of Aadhaar is both the ruling party and the opposition are claiming victory. You've got Arun Jaitley saying this is a historic judgment that vindicates the BJP stand, and you've got the likes of Mr. Chidambaram who are tweeting and claiming that it vindicates the UPA. Can both be right?
I think it's a stinging rebuff by the Supreme Court, a clear judicial slap on what was being tried to be distorted by way of Aadhaar. Number one, remember Rajdeep, that Aadhaar is fundamentally an excellent concept. We brought it. We want its core to shine bright and hard. The idea is excellent. It was the add-ons, the dirt which the NDA collected on it in the last 4 years, which had to be eliminated. All kinds of things never intended for Aadhaar were given a distorted version of Aadhaar. That has been eliminated today. UGC, CBSE, banks, mobiles. Now what is the point? The point of the whole matter is that the Supreme Court has taken care to ensure that the dirty bathwater is thrown out. The baby is not harmed. It's a bonny baby and it will work well if used properly. It was intended for the marginalized sections of society and to ensure no leakage for them. But look at what this government had done. It has added everything possible. I mean, we are lucky that you go to the washroom and you're not asked to show Aadhaar. It's lucky that if you sneeze, you're not supposed to show Aadhaar. Otherwise, and let me tell you, had this not happened now, there was creeping attempt. The basic object was a creeping attempt to enter every nook and cranny of your private being. That has been put a stop to today. I don't see how anybody can read this judgment as an affirmation of the government. Each and every point which has been negated by the Supreme Court was vehemently argued by the Attorney General, which was vehemently argued by the government. And for the first time, the full judicial review of a money bill has been accepted by all the 5 judges. On the facts of this case, 4 out of 5 have not said that it is not a money bill, but they have asserted for the first time the full power to review the power of the Speaker, the certification of the Speaker as to whether it is a money bill or not. And this is what happens when a power is used time and again over frequently by the governments, that the Supreme Court has today asserted its right to judicially review even the Speaker's power.
We'll come to that aspect of judicial review and what could lie ahead, but clearly you seem to believe that the UPA's original idea of Aadhaar for welfare benefits has been met. Respond to that, Nalin Kohli, because the BJP is giving a very different spin to what the Congress is giving. Both of you are throwing your spin. The BJP is claiming that the majority verdict affirms the BJP's belief that Aadhaar is constitutionally valid, A, and B, that it can therefore be used in the manner that it can, in a sense, become a unique identity card. Now, Abhishek Manu Singhvi is saying the BJP was overreaching. The government, the Modi government was overreaching and pushing Aadhaar into areas where it was not meant to be. How do you see the Supreme Court judgment?
Well, of course, it's a great vindication because it's constitutionally valid. And if that is meant to be a defeat, then as Mr. Amit Shah, party president, put it out, this is just the kind of victory that the Congress got in 2014. They are entitled to treat anything in a victory. Anyone can consider himself or herself to be a legend in their own minds. It doesn't matter. But let's break it down on facts, and the story is completely different. First, Niradhar became Aadhaar. There was no legislative background or legal framework for Aadhaar. When did it come? 2016. So therefore, for the first time, there was a clear attempt to give it a legal backing, a legislative framework. And that's been done. So from Niradhar to Aadhaar is a huge movement. Second, Aadhaar was a unique identity that you were going to link it, and the primary thing was to help beneficiaries and weed out ghost beneficiaries. Today, you are having a saving of 90,000 crores because 260 schemes of the government of India are now going directly into the bank accounts. How is it going? Through the program of Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, J for Jan Dhan, A for Aadhaar, M for mobile. Millions of ghost beneficiaries in the PDS system, in terms of gas subsidy, in terms of benefits reaching pensioners, all have been eliminated. 90,000 crores is not a small amount. 22 crore people today are getting their gas subsidy based on Aadhaar. 20 crore people are getting their food subsidized food or ration through Aadhaar. So this is a huge movement and a step forward. Now that way, Indira Gandhi ji came out in 1970s with the nationalization of banks because the Garib, in Garibi Hatao, you needed the poor to have bank accounts. Did they open? How is it that now you can have 35 crore bank accounts opened and they are mostly seeded with Aadhaar? So let's come to it. The principal aim of Aadhaar was A, legislative framework, 2, protection of that data, 3, a unique identity which would eliminate ghost beneficiaries and ensure targeted benefits reaching those who deserve it most. That's been there. Expanding it to the next level, the court has said no, that is not desirable because section 57 gave that to private companies. So what? It doesn't change the core requirement. So I think if the Congress calls that a victory, that all the things that the NDA government under Modi ji has done for themselves, I think we should look at it beyond the framework of BJP Congress and think that it's a great movement forward. And as Justice Sikri said, 2 important points. The first, he said, it's a unique identity and that makes it the only identity. And it needn't be and that quote, another quote which I thought was very nice is, when we learned how to write, when we became literate, you moved away from the thumb to the signature. Today, technology takes you back to the thumb impression. So I think the judges in a 4-1 victory, in a 4-1 judgment, have clearly said it's constitutionally valid. And if that is the defeat of the government, well, it's a new interpretation.
Because along with that, of course, there was a very strong dissenting judgment of Justice Chandrachud. And in a sense, therefore, Abhishek Manu Singhvi, what the Congress can hold on to is the fact that, yes, private parties cannot use Aadhaar and therefore there is less chance of them individually profiling me using my data. And B, the fact that Justice Chandrachud, for example, said the very fact that the BJP moved it as a money bill, the Modi government moved it as a money bill, was an abuse of the constitution. Now, does that mean, is that enough grounds for you to go in for a judicial review? Or do you believe now the time has come that we have achieved a balance between the right to privacy and the need to ensure maximum public good through possibly a digitized scheme like Aadhaar?
I think the BJP has just made the exact point which the Congress is trying to make for the whole day. Who has told you, Rajdeep, that the Congress challenged the very existence or validity of Aadhaar or the legislation? It's our baby. We fully support Aadhaar. We support even the legislative backing to it. And therefore, if the court had not upheld the statute, it meant that it would have meant that Aadhaar would go. That would be horrible. The argument of the Congress at least is very, very clear from day one. All the add-ons, all the ridiculous distortions which you built into Aadhaar, both in the way you use it, both in the way you interpret section 57 and other provisions, is wrong. That was not how we enacted it, how we created it. Now those have all been eliminated. Imagine you
stand with the majority verdict. So you stand with the majority verdict. The Congress stands with the majority verdict.
Absolutely, because the majority, it is the majority verdict. It is the majority verdict, Rajdeep, which has eliminated all these add-ons. Who got the mobile into Aadhaar? Who got the bank account into Aadhaar? Who got the CBSE, the UGC? All happened in the NDA government. Secondly, the fundamental mistake again made just now by the BJP is simple. They tend to assume that your eligibility to receive your benefit is dependent on your production of the Aadhaar card. Who is saying if you are giving me gas, or if you are giving me subsidy, or if you are giving me a benefit, is that anybody objecting to that? But you are denying it on the ground that you will not get it, Mr. Sardesai, because you don't have Aadhaar card. Well, that has been struck down again. Nobody can be denied benefits now on that ground, which is the way it should be. Number 3, for the first time, forget the dissent, I have not even come to the dissent yet. The majority clearly holds that even a speaker's certification about a money bill is judicially reviewable. Never held before. It happened because time and again, the Salisbury theory of Rajya Sabha being espoused by the current finance minister, it's only an ornamental upper house, was being misused to travel through the Lok Sabha on a money bill trail. Well, this time they were asserted it, and let me tell you, the day is not far when this government tries 2, 3, 4 more times to make passage of non-money bills as money bills. You will actually have the application of today's doctrine by 5 judges, all 5. You'll have the application of that to invalidate also the certification of the speaker. That is about to come. That's how it happened in ordinance. DC Vadwa's judgment had exactly the same thing, repromulgation of ordinances.
Can I therefore
get a complete victory on what we wanted? We never wanted the invalidation of Aadhaar. It's our baby. How can we invalidate it?
It's very interesting. It's your baby, therefore you never wanted
Complete
it invalidated.
validation.
Okay, you're claiming it's your baby. Everyone seems to claim Aadhaar as its own baby, but very quickly, therefore, Nalin Kohli, Rahul Gandhi today says that the UPA
No, they
used
can't claim it
Aadhaar.
as their baby.
No, 1 minute.
It's our baby.
Rahul Gandhi says UPA used Aadhaar as a tool of empowerment. The BJP was using it as a tool of oppression. And the Supreme Court today has achieved the right balance. How do you respond? Was there a tendency you will concede within the Modi government to expand the scope of Aadhaar well beyond what it was originally meant for? And the Supreme Court today has, in a sense, drawn a Lakshman Rekha.
Just because he shares the surname Gandhi doesn't make him an apostle of truth. Rahul Gandhi says many things. A lot of it is nothing to do with fact or even with, something which is credible. So he's entitled, as every citizen under the Constitution, under Article 19, has the freedom of speech and expression. Let him express. Why should we say that it's not? But I think our party president, as I quoted him also, Amit
Did
Bhai,
the
in
BJP
any
seek
case
to
pointed out
expand
and
it
replied
beyond
to
what
that
it was meant
through
for?
another tweet.
Did
Let's
the
come back to
BJP make the
issues
mistake
here.
of trying to
First,
expand it beyond what it was originally meant for, a welfare security scheme?
I'm coming. No. Well, let me throw in the counter. Income tax and PAN cards were to be linked with Aadhaar, and the BJP decided to do so. It wasn't done. So therefore, has that been struck down? It's not been struck down. So therefore, these are arguments of convenience. And today you have some 20 crore plus PAN cards linked to Aadhaar. You've got about 1.32 passports linked to Aadhaar. So a lot of things have happened, and that's all been done by the BJP government. This whole argument of a surveillance state, this is an argument of convenience. Because let's understand, where is this sharing? Your bank account, if it was to have Aadhaar, or even your mobile, although both are not to be held, or let's take your passport and let's take your gas connection, which is there. Are these departments sharing the information with each other? They aren't. They are all unique to their own activity. So there was no bringing it together. This police state was an argument of convenience. Where has that argument come? Is there anything in Aadhaar if it was a police state, if it was abuse of data, if it was misuse of data, if there was not protection, if the legislative framework was weak? Are you trying to say that 4 judges would have upheld it as constitutionally valid? So I think the Congress has every right to put out a point of view. They may want to claim victory, even if there is none. I said it at the beginning, let's not make it bipartisan and just simply say it's a victory for Aadhaar, and it's a good step forward to ensure ghost beneficiaries should be removed. It's a victory forward to targeting and ensuring that the poor get what they deserve.
Did you raise
it's
a bogey called data protection?
90,000 crores, and let's give that credit where it is due.
I just have 30 seconds left. Abhishek Manu Singhvi, did you try to raise a bogey of data protection, the fear of data theft, which the Supreme Court has said was an unnecessary bogey? They claim the greater public good was in spreading, in using Aadhaar for welfare benefits. They found that the argument of exclusion or data theft were not strong enough arguments to strike it down. Very quickly.
No, Rajdeep. On the contrary, the Supreme Court, just tell me one thing, barring the existence of the Aadhaar card and barring the income tax PAN, where else of all the add-ons has the Supreme Court allowed the add-ons which the BJP got only after 2014 to be validated? Simple question. Every add-on has been decimated, therefore the dirty bathwater is thrown, the baby is secure. Now about PAN and IT, a fundamental misconception.
May I?
In IT there was already a card, PAN. So there was nothing, it was only linking of an existing card. So there is nothing which was primarily based on Aadhaar. And remember, IT returns are in any case confidential. So all areas which are not confidential, where Aadhaar was being used, have been struck down. Today, there is a direction to return the data or to destroy the data. What does it mean? It means that whatever you did in the Supreme Court, there's a direction within 6 months to destroy. That means whatever you did for the last 4 years and collected data thereby, whatever you denied beneficiaries on the basis of Aadhaar, whenever you said precisely what is being just said just now, there's a Chinese wall, a different person is collecting a material for X, another one for Y, and there is no sharing. Why did they then say destroy the data? It's because
a quick comment, please.
You are not able to police. You know that it can be shared tomorrow.
15 seconds, Nalin Kohli.
Some will not be shared.
15 seconds, because my time is up. I want to expand the debate. 15 seconds. I want to go to the non-politicians. 15 seconds.
Yes, sure. Thank you. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Section 7, which was the critical section, which related to the giving the benefits, that's upheld. One section 57, which deals with private, is removed. Another one is struck down, one is read down. Out of 59 sections, 3 are impacted, and that is supposed to be the defeat of the government. The rest are going through absolutely. That's supposed to be not the victory of the government. And on the money bill aspect, just a quick thing, anything that is misused is subject to judicial review. Of course, as was the misuse of 356.
It was never a money bill, Nalin Kohli. Was it ever really a money bill? You pushed it through because you didn't have a majority in the Rajya Sabha. That's why you made it a money bill. Let's be very honest, Nalin Kohli. Was Aadhaar ever meant to be a money bill?
Consolidated Fund of Government of India. Article 110.
Okay. That's your argument.
When the funds go out of the consolidated fund
That's your argument.
Which is 110, Article 110.
That's your argument.
So
Justice Chandrachud made it very clear it was an abuse of constitution to make Aadhaar a money bill simply to push it through Rajya Sabha. That's the limited defeat certainly of the government. The victory of the government would be, as you are claiming that your original claim was that it was to be constitutionally valid. But now everyone's claiming the baby. So let's leave it there. Maybe we can have a bipartisan debate and both of you can have a drink to the Aadhaar verdict in your own ways. Thanks very much for joining us.